Good evening and welcome to tonight's edition of Nigeria Decides 2023. And the program will be dissecting the speech of the President-elect and one-time Governor of Lagos State, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, after INEC's declaration of his electoral victory and receipt of his certificate of return yesterday. An American author, Seth Godin, describes leadership as the art of giving people a platform for spreading ideas that work. And this encapsulates some parts of the President-elect's speech where he made known his agenda and solicited for the support of his opponents in the task of placing Nigeria in the path to greatness. Before I introduce my guests, we'll take a short break and an excerpt from some of the President-elect's speech. Stay with us.
By taking this certificate, I assume a sacred duty I shall never ignore. To you, the people, especially the youth, I will work day and night. I will work to the utmost best of my ability to make Nigeria better. For this to be a victory at all, it cannot simply be a victory for one man or even one party. It must become a victory for all Nigerians who are committed to a greater society. I know many did not vote for me, and you are disappointed that your candidate is not where I stand now. I understand. You hurt. Your anger, disappointment. I send the embrace and comfort of one family member to another. This great project called Nigeria beckons to us all. It is bigger and more important than any partition divide. To my supporters, I ask you to continue to have faith in the mission that we have articulated. Though those who didn't support me, I ask that you not allow the disappointment of this moment to keep you from realizing the historic national progress we can make by working together. We must join hands in this common endeavor to pull the nation through. In a phrase, I'm asking you to work with me. I may be the president in election, but I need you more importantly. Nigeria needs you a lot more than just one person. My heart, my door are open to you. I ask you to come in so that we may begin the task of rebuilding our national home together, day by day, brick by brick. Where there is poverty, let us create prosperity and jobs. Where there is hunger, let us feed the people, chasing the hunger from our midst. Where there is no scarcity, let us rediscover the abundance. Where there is brutality, we may replace it with brotherhood. Where there is violence, stop the land. We may establish peace. Where others have erected temples to hatred and bias, we may reconstruct permanent monuments to compassion and abiding affection. History will record that this day as the moment when I officially stood before you as a president-elect. However, I would like to dedicate this day and record it as the moment that we vowed to come together to make Nigeria stand shining forth as the beloved and brave republic that God created for all of us. We are committed to the progress, development, and renewed hope. By taking this certificate, I assume a sacred duty I shall never ignore. To you, the people, especially the youth, I will work day and night. I will work to the utmost best of my ability to make Nigeria better. For this to be a victory at all, it cannot simply be a victory for one man or even one party. It must be.
Welcome back. This is Nigeria Decides 2023 on Trust TV, and I have with me our in-house analyst, Malam Yusuf Zango, who was former editor-in-chief of News Agency of Nigeria and now consulting opinion editor for Daily Trust newspaper. You're much welcome, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. So you can see the president-elect there making promises to Nigerians, drawing the nation's attention to the election and things. So how do you view the whole process so far? The idea that he has now been issued with a certificate of return, which officially certifies him as Nigeria's president-elect, and therefore president in waiting.
Yeah, it's a good development because although the dust raised by the election has not yet settled, but I think it's something that we cannot wait and be dogged by the controversy that surrounded the election or whatever the opposition is making of it. So I think it's a part of the process that after the election he will be issued with his certificate of return, and it's an opportunity for him. These are situations where he is expected to say what his agenda is. I think there would be other occasions where he will further explain. But in a nutshell, these are occasions where he will tell the nation what he intends to do. One was on early Wednesday morning when he was declared the president, and he made that speech, and the other one is just the one we just watched. That's after receiving his certificate of return. So in the whole, we expect to see this and to make himself clear to Nigerians what he intends to do and what kind of president Nigerians should expect.
Thank you. If you read the full speech, which was published by several newspapers today, you know, among the things that he said was that you find interesting is that he admitted there are relatively few lapses. You know, he commended the INEC and admitted there are some lapses in the election, but that those lapses are relatively few and ultimately immaterial to the election. You know, ultimately immaterial to the election. How do you view that?
Naturally, as we keep on saying, elections, mostly in Nigeria, they don't come and go without one controversy or another. And from 1999 to date, I think we've been having one and the other. I think Nigerians know. At one time, we had a situation whereby elections were declared before counting ended. And sometimes many of the results were declared in Abuja while counting was taking place either in Mina or in Benin or in Asaba.
Yes.
So, but we're lucky that over the years we have been having an improvement over the situation. We won't say it is perfect, and the Americans didn't just get where they are in one day. And I think it's also a collective something, because if the authorities have it's much more of a Nigerian factor, because we as Nigerians also have to contribute. The mistake we always make is that those given this responsibility are always viewed as to be in charge, and all of us will wait for them to do it. We need to put in our own effort. If we go to polling unit, we are expected to be in the queue and cooperate with the polling officials. Those are the kinds of things that we expect as Nigerians. So we can't rule out this. And if another election is going to take place in the next 2 years, we may have a different problem, but we may not say we may not have.
But in his opinion, he is saying that these issues, these lapses or glitches, that word has become quite popular in the past few days. Yes, glitches. Everyone is saying glitches. So he is saying that these are few, and also ultimately they don't harm the final outcome of the election. Even without them, he would have won.
Yeah, even without them.
Do you think, how true do you think that is?
Yeah, when you look at the outcome of the election, the outcome of the election showed that all the four major contenders did very well. The three of them won in at least 12 states. So for somebody to come and say, we are not in the era of landslide victories now, where the winner takes charge of almost 2/3 of the state, and not only winning, but with a wide margin. But here you have even the margin between two major candidates in a particular state. It's not very wide. Some as low as 7,000, some 4,000, some 10,000. So you will see that these glitches we have been discussing or we have been hammering on, I don't think they would have changed the outcome of this election.
Interesting. But if that is the case, the other two leading candidates in the race earlier today, first the candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, in a press conference, he rejected the election, and not just rejected the election and its outcome, but that he actually won the election, and that he will be proving it in court. So if he believes that he won the election and will be able to prove it in court, then ultimately maybe the glitches that Tinubu was talking about are more than just relatively few.
Well, from the point of what we have seen, what we have read, the results published, I don't see much of what the Labour Party presidential candidate was saying being playing out. Well, he may have his reasons for saying what he said, but for those of us who have read the result and have seen the result and followed the result from the beginning to the end, I don't think that there is much that he will say that may change the outcome of the election. Well, maybe in the, anything can happen in court. Sometimes you can rely on technicality to just win your case, not necessarily the facts on the ground. So, well, it's good. It's democracy. Nobody will stop him from contesting the election. He has every right to do so. But I'm lucky that the case is not in court, so I will not be charged for
Well, they have not gone to court yet. So.
Yeah, they have not gone to court, so we can discuss that
freely.
But
yes.
from just as earlier said, from what is on the ground, I don't think much has happened or that will change the outcome of the election. We'll wait for the presidential, Mr. Peter Obi, to go to court. Maybe will be more enlightened about what he has in store.
But also speaking later, and probably still speaking in his press conference, you know, is the candidate of the PDP, the former Vice President Atiku Abubakar. He also says that the result cannot stand, and he will be challenging the result in court. He didn't say that he is the winner, but that he will be challenging it in court. So is there some kind of worry or concern that the two leading candidates both disagree with the result?
No, but it's something which I expected to happen, honestly, given our experience in Nigeria. I think from 1999 to date, we have never had an election, especially the presidential election, which didn't go to court. From the tribunal up to Supreme Court, mostly it was the Supreme Court that finally decided this. So they have every right to contest the election and to go to court. It's their constitutional right to do that. But as I said earlier, those of us who have been reading, who are not knowledgeable, well, we know what the rules says as far as election is concerned. You are supposed to get the majority of the vote cast, and you're supposed to have at least 25% of the vote cast in 2/3 of the states. So what ANEC released to us early Wednesday was exactly what the Constitution provided. So maybe both the PDP and the Labour Party have something which we do not know. So that's why I said maybe when they go to court and they lay their claims, and the lawyers come and see, will be more enlightened about what they have against the election.
Interesting. So, but also in this statement, the PDP candidate, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, also said that the votes that Peter Obi had in Southeast and South-South traditional votes that would originally have gone to the PDP.
Yeah.
So if that is the case, that means the opposition had split votes. And if the opposition had split votes, how can both of them now claim
that's the funny aspect of the whole issue, because many people alluded to that.
Okay.
Now, when you look at the results of the election, the APC candidate who came first got about more than 8 million. The two others got in between them around 30 million. So I think it was their fault. If they had combined or come together, unified, they could have defeated the APC. If we can always recall what happened in 2015. And now, it was a clear example. Buhari had been contesting for about 3 or 4 times. And all along, he was even garnering 12 million votes. We were sure of that. Both in 2003, 2007, 2011. But he didn't have the spread, which is very, very important. Now, if Peter Obi agrees to go to court, he has gotten this 6 million, does he have the spread? Or did he get the spread, the 25% of the three-quarter of the states in the country?
States.
So these are the issues. I think they can only blame themselves, as we see here, if they had come together. Because, as I said earlier, in 2015, it took a combination of CPC, ACN, ANPP, and a faction of PDP and a faction of ABGA to come together and defeat the incumbent. So I think to some extent you can say, look, PDP, LP, blame yourselves. If you remember, Mr. Peter Obi was in PDP but suddenly he
Until during the primary
he left and went to Labour Party and started his own project.
Thank you. So, furthermore, in his speech, the president-elect also said that he advised the candidates to feel free to challenge the election, but that they should do so in the courts and not in the streets.
Yeah, that's very important, actually. Because
what's the implication of that?
As we in the last few days since Sunday, the country is under tension. You remember there were so many reports. Some of the international observers came and said there were so many irregularities, even the local observers, and it was crowned by the statement by former President Olusegun Obasanjo. So there was so much change. We're lucky that some prominent Nigerians came out to say, look, please, let's cool down. Let's give peace a chance, because we believe there is a process, and whoever feels that he's been cheated, he has a way to seek redress, go to court. And I think what President-elect did was to further reinforce that. Look, I agree with you. You could have a contrary to what I have. That's human in nature, because me and you may not agree on everything. But there is a way to do things. And what we should emphasize in this country is follow due process. And if you send out people there attacking themselves, everybody loses.
But some people would say that protesting, challenging the results in the streets is also due process, because democracy allows for peaceful protest, for people to make their voice heard, for peaceful protest in the streets still. But maybe before you answer, we'll be taking a short break, after which we'll be joined by our second guest. Stay with us.
That's great. It's good to see you.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. Malam Zongo Yusuf is being joined by Dr. Olowo Olagunju, who is a political science lecturer with the University of Abuja. You're most welcome, sir.
Good evening. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome again.
Thank you very much.
So we have been discussing the speech delivered by the president-elect yesterday at the venue where he received his certificate of return from INEC. Among the things he said was that those who feel aggrieved and who feel they cannot accept the outcome of the results can challenge it in court, but not in the streets. So I was just asking Malam, why, as a political scientist, is it only in courts that people can challenge the results of a democratic process? Why can't the results be challenged also in the streets?
Thank you. It's a very sound question, so to say. But come to think of it, it is documented and legislated that every matter that is not clear should seek interpretation in court of law. And the electoral procedure too is not exceptional. In the case of aggrieved party, in any electoral victory, the best and the most civilized way to address that kind of redress is in court. If you are saying whether they can settle it on the street, you are talking about public opinion court, where, of course, the judgment might not be legally established. People will always have their say, but they cannot always have their way, because there is a legal procedure for challenging electoral grievances and the rest. So the best way, according to the president-elect, is to approach court. And we have a lot of precedent to follow in terms of getting justice in court. So the only standard procedure is to approach court, so to say. I think he has said it very well and clearly and unambiguous that the best process is to approach court. Of course, he said it in the statement that he knows that some people will still approach the court to seek redress, and that's the best thing to do. Let the law take its course.
Thank you. So, Malam, is there any gap between, because he talked about court of public opinion, which is important in its own right, yeah, and the court of law? Is there any gap between the two?
Yeah, there are.
Okay, yes.
To me, the gap is wide, even you can say, because the court of public opinion doesn't necessarily have to be rational. That's the most important thing. But in the court of law, there are procedures. And we have seen so many occasions where simple protests turn violent. We can recall what NSAS brought to us. It was a very nice protest, started peacefully. Suddenly, everywhere there was mayhem. Prisoners were being released, people were being killed, policemen were being attacked. So it's, in the context of Nigeria, it's even very dangerous for us to allow that. You know, it's not that people don't have right to protest, but what extent and would they behave? That's very, very important.
You were nodding as I was asking the question and he was speaking. Yes.
Yes. Between the two procedure, or between court and public opinion. Yes, the public opinion, as he said, truly. Yes, we might have divergent opinions, and these type of opinions are not guided by rules and law. Sentiment will be there, emotions will be there, and so you cannot get the best out of it. And most especially at this critical hour in our democracy, the atmosphere is tensed already, and we don't want it to degenerate. So the best way is to calm the citizens down by letting them know that the best procedure is to approach court, not the opinion of the public this time around. That is the best way to go. Public opinion cannot always settle this case in this manner.
Thank you. But both of you, let me stretch this argument still a little further.
Okay.
Suppose the two candidates, the PDP and the Labour Party candidate, Peter Obi and Atiku Abubakar, to be more precise. Suppose both of them go to the court. We both know that the Nigerian court system has never, at any time, annulled a presidential election. Not before 1999, not now. Not since 1999, So we don't know, maybe this will be the first time or not. But supposing the courts uphold the election of the president-elect Bola Tinubu, wouldn't there still be that gap in the public opinion? Would that have any impact in the public opinion? That, the courts say Tinubu won. Would that change the minds of those who believe that he didn't win?
No, I don't expect it, because You know, when you look at the trend of this discussion, mostly with the LP supporters, there's so much emotion attached to it.
Okay.
They believe that, and this one started right from the day one when Peter Obi joined a Labour Party. And the campaign, the strength of their campaign is on the social media. And the social media is populated by the young. So rational thinking, I'm sorry to say maybe, rational thinking, there will be more of emotional than rational thinking there. So I don't see even, it may take time to heal. That's why the action or inaction of the president-elect matter.
Okay.
For him to be able to calm down now. Otherwise, it will continue and it will take another dimension which we don't pray for.
Thank you. Dr. Olagunju, among the things the president-elect said is that he is extending a hand of friendship to his co-contestants, and he named them. You know, that to Atiku, to Obi, to Konkoso, and the others, because there are 14 other contestants in the election. So he says he's extending a hand of friendship to them. How meaningful is that extension if these parties are rejecting the election, as we have seen earlier today?
He has done a very good thing by saying, I want an all-inclusive government. He extended hand of fellowship, and this hand of fellowship is relative. If we are to define it fundamentally, hand of fellowship will mean that, yes, I will need your advice, your expertise, and the rest, not that I'm going to give you a critical role in my government. Yes, the best thing to do is to extend that hand of fellowship. At least let them have this sense of belonging that, no, it's not a winner takes all game, that yes, you have a stake too. If you have any better idea on how to move this nation forward, you are welcome. Please come and talk to us. And most especially the candidate of Labour, who is very reputable in reading statistics and the rest and figures. If truly, yes, you are grounded in this area, how can you help us? How do you think our economy can grow? Yes, he can be appointed as part of economic team and the rest.
Are you saying that the hand of friendship can take the form of a government of national unity, to have his co-contestants come to participate in a Tinubu-led government?
It is possible. Okay. If Nigeria interest is what we are all looking for, if it is the betterment of Nigeria we are all looking for, if it is moving Nigeria forward is our objective, it is possible, it can be invited. But you know, in this part of the world where somebody who is applying for the post of number one, and he didn't get it, and you want him to come and be head or special advisors to someone, of course, the ego might not allow that kind of person to take it. Okay. But leave it or take it, he has done the right thing by extending that hand of fellowship. And if truly Nigeria is the project, if truly Nigeria is that priority, I think they can take it and work with him. If given any role, they can come and work with him.
Interesting. So a hand of friendship to co-contestants, people who, as he himself said, they are not his enemies, and he is not necessarily better than them. You know, he's not more qualified than they are, as he said in the same speech. What are the practical ways in which this can play? One is the government of national unity, which is what I think you are talking about. But given the experience of Nigeria in the past, is that what is good for Nigeria at the moment?
No, it may be, but I don't really believe in it, because you see, when you have that, yeah, it's good to have it, but you are elected based on your programs and promises.
Okay.
Now, by trying to bring somebody as big as somebody who has contested along with you, it means that you have to...
And who believes you won the election?
Exactly. So you need to allow him to chip in, and that may affect your policy. But what I see in them is not, well, it's good for him to start that. And normally, when you have a situation like this, to me, yeah, this kind of thing goes. But in essence, what I would expect them to do is to go back and look at their parties and say, look, this is not the end of life. We can build up. Especially Peter Obi has has prospect. Even if it doesn't come to him, he can build that party with the young Nigerians there. Give them the chance to be in position of power, to be able to move Nigeria with good programs and achieve greatness. The same thing with Atiku. Probably Atiku is retiring, but he will have one way or the other, he can have people whom he trusts and strengthen the PDP so that it can be a strong opposition and ready to take power next time. Because when you look at it, right from the initial stage, the PDP almost lost its strength right from their primary. They wanted a southern candidate, they didn't get it, and you have the G5 and all those kind of things. And all throughout, that thing kept dogging the party. So it's time now for them to say, look, we don't even bother, please, go ahead and rule. But we'll go back and clean our house and lay a good foundation, and we'll meet you in 2027.
Interesting. Thank you. So, but among the things that he said to the president-elect was that he will be a servant leader, you know, that he will be fair to all Nigerians, including all those who did not vote for him. This is important because in 2015, in an interview, the current president, or the outgoing president, Muhammadu Buhari, made it clear that those who did not vote for him should not expect to benefit so much from his government, you know, and so on. So how crucial is such a statement that he will be a servant leader and you know, rather than just a political leader? How crucial is such a statement for Nigeria at the moment?
It's a very crucial statement, and a statement that is laden in a lot of content, so to say. If you know the president-elect very well, if you have been following his type of activities and engagement, he's someone who is, one, forgiving, he's someone who has a focus, and is an expert in human development. He has really developed a lot of people in this country. Going by that, yes, he really meant it that, yes, he's going to be a servant for all. A servant for all will mean that I'm going to be a Nigerian for everybody, both men, women, young, able, and disabled. I'm here for you all, and I'm here to serve. To him, this position is called to service, and it's going to ensure that he did just that. Of course, if you know Asiwaju very well, that's why he has this long network of friends and acquaintances. It's because he really believed that governance is all about service. Governance is all about delivery. Governance is all about giving happiness to greater number of people. So he understands this ethos and is going to the best of his ability, deliver on them. To compare him to the outgoing president now, when he said 5% of those who vote, he has 5% of votes in some area and he has 95% in other areas, that Nigerians should not expect is going to treat them equally. But Bola Tinubu is saying, even those who contested with him, they are not his enemy, but they are his friend and they are partner in progress. So Tinubu understands the game very well, and I'm sure is going to implement this statement for the betterment of this country.
Thank you, but it's easy to be sure. And in a TV studio, isn't it? Because some people will say that we have seen this before in Nigeria, where president and president-elects come to make speeches and make promises that we will going to do this for you, we can do that for you, but in the end, it doesn't come. What practical steps would you expect, Malam Zango, for the president-elect to take between now and his swearing in and beyond that will demonstrate the idea of being a servant and not just a servant leader and being fair to all Nigerians?
I think he will start from the transition committee. Those who are maybe normally a president-elect brings in people who will chart a course for his administration. I think by that, the composition of that committee will tell us where he is heading to in terms of the spread of that committee, the expertise there, and a lot of other things which will show that he's trying to unify the country, and not only unifying the country along tribal or religious line, but unifying the country in the strata. The young, the old, the middle-aged, the civil servant, the businessman, the petty trader, all are important. So as if he is able to, right from the word go, start bringing this kind of thing to see that that transition committee has a representation of this strata of people, the Dabajan religious group, the Dabajan tribal group, the whatever have you, because Nigeria is big. And the good thing about which he can leverage on, when you look at the spread of his the votes, he's almost everywhere. Even in Igbo, he was able to garner about 60,000 votes or so.
And he won in Rivers.
Exactly. And in Benue, he was the leader, he led the something. So he can leverage on that. It means that he has some people to rely on everywhere in this country. So he can leverage on that and say, look, come in. There may not be, he may not need to go out of his party, but even within his party, he will have people who will show to Nigerians, look, this man means business.
Thank you. Thank you for staying with us, our viewers. At this point, I would like to remind that, as usual, our lines will soon be opening for taking calls from our viewers. When you want to make a call, when you place your call, you tell us your name and where you are coming from, and then you make your contribution to the discussion that is going on, or you can ask a question. Either way, you are being part of the discussion. Stay with us. So, Dr. Olagunju, yes. Has he saying that take practical steps from transition, from having people from across the various states where he has won? How does that translate in terms of policy issues? You know, because the issues that because being fair to all Nigerians inevitably boils down to an issue of policy. Right?
Yeah. You
know, balancing policies, doing, you know, and then because the problems are different. The people in Ebonyi, for example, the problems they have may be different from the people in Jigawa, which in turn may be different from people in Ekiti, which in turn may be different from people in Makurdi. So what kinds of, how does a president-elect think around these things?
Yeah, Malan just said that in the composition of this transition committee, that it can really have a spread. Let me take us back. When they inaugurated their campaign team, you recall that there was a kind of review, like first, second review, just to make sure that this spread is achieved.
Okay.
That type of spread will give us confidence that, okay, this man meant well. And in appointment also, if you appoint people from diverse background, from diverse ethnic group, and you give everybody sense of belonging, like you said, the problem of Ebonyi is quite different from that of Ekiti. Then when you have an Ebonyi man in your cabinet, you have that of Ekiti, it is very simple for you to ask them, what is the pressing need of your people? What is the pressing need of your environment? So when you have this kind of spread in appointment, in the people that will represent the cabinet, honestly, you can really get it very, very well. So appointment will reflect that practical ways, and these practical ways will reflect in the policy if everybody is giving sense of belonging, whether young, whether old, women, men, let everybody be giving that sense of belonging. And with this, the government will be accepted, and the government will enjoy a legitimacy, so to say.
Thank you. This issue of legitimacy that you just raised is so important, isn't it? If you look at the Financial Times, their editorial on Nigeria's election today is quite damning. You know, it's like they dismissed the election as if there were no elections, and then results were just declared. And acceptance of results beyond Nigeria by other stakeholders beyond Nigeria is important for an incoming president, for the president-elect as we speak. So what ways do you think, even if we're able to You see, the issue of deficit of legitimacy is here at home, but it's also here elsewhere, elsewhere abroad. So what can the president-elect do to reassure the international community? Because Nigeria is not an island unto itself. So how does a president-elect begin to address such issues?
I have not read the Financial Times editorials, but I expected it.
Okay.
Because from experience, I know that they look at it this way, and they always feel that.
Just for a minute, what's going to happen is once callers are coming in, I may have to interrupt you to take the calls. Isa from Bauchi State, you're welcome to Nigeria Decides on Trust TV. Go ahead and make your contribution or ask your question.
Okay, thank you very much. So, first of all, let me congratulate the president-elect. Even though many people are not finding it easy to on how this election went lately. So, my own is I'm advising the president-elect to take the style of our next president, Umaru Musa Yar'Adua, who come along with very nice programs for this country, for the development of Nigeria. So I wish and Mr. Tinubu can do the same. So also, speaking from the northeast zone of this country, frankly speaking, we in this zone, particularly during this present administration, we are not carried along because there is no physical infrastructure that is geared toward the development of this zone. Be it rail, be it road, whatever aspect of human development you consider, we in the North are less not in the. Therefore, I wish that this incoming administration will carry us along. Also, I would like him to lead or to administer his administration, not the kind of this present administration, because if anybody who is a management student, you know that in management, the tool of hiring and firing is a very, very important tool of administration. And look at the present administration. Nobody, in fact, nobody was sent out of this administration because he has done something wrong. So that what contributed to their failure, because everybody think whatever he do, it is right, and it is not that way in administration. So I wish this administration will be a positive one for all of us in this country. I might help us and help this country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Isa from Bauchi. You've made very important issues. He raised one, that if the president can copy from the late President Yar'Adua when he came in with the kinds of programs that will douse tension that Nigerians from every part of the country will embrace. And then he also raised the case of the Northeast, where he believes the current government has not done any infrastructure project, no road, no rails, to quote Isa himself. And then finally,
something about administration.
About hiring and firing of the leadership style of the president-elect, how important that will be. So maybe you can finish what you were saying about the international community and look at
the same way we are having this problem here is maybe the same way the international community will. And I think it's normal for them to, and probably what FT came out with may not reflect the feelings of the various governments. But whatever it is, I think there will be a healing process. I believe he will reach out and he will explain the circumstances. We have had worse cases than that. You remember June 12th, we had that very serious case. And eventually, even after June 12, you found that some went ahead and supported Abacha, while some went to were supporting.
Interesting. Let's take another caller, Ibrahim from Kogi. Ibrahim, you're welcome from Yobe State. You're from Gombe State. You're welcome to Nigeria Decides on Trust TV.
I just want to ask this question.
Yes, go ahead and ask your question, Ibrahim.
What do you think are the 3 or 4 major challenges before the president-elect? And secondly, what do you expect the followers to do before the swearing in of the new president and after?
Okay.
After the swearing in of the new president.
You are saying that what do we think the followers should do before the swearing of the new president, and what again?
No, I just want to know what are the likely doubting challenges, about 3 or 4 of them.
Okay.
Major challenges that the new president is likely to face.
Okay.
And secondly, what are those expectations from the electorate?
Okay.
Before and after the swearing in.
The swearing in. Yeah. Thank you very much, Ibrahim from Yobe. From Gombe, thank you. Yeah. So, but you had him. So we have 2 sides of shades of opinion now. One, that the president, which suggestions bring out policies like Yar'Adua did, focus on Northeast, among other things, and then will the big stick when it is necessary among your leaders? Maybe Dr. Olagunju can go first. Yes.
Yeah, it is instructive, truly, to respond to public opinion. If you have a cabinet member that is not performing, there is no bad thing in telling that kind of person to go and rest and look for another person to be in charge. Under this administration, for instance, we are sure of some people who are there who are not really performing expectedly, and one would have expected that the president will have told them, please go and rest. There is a mature way of doing that without, attracting much of enemies to yourself. Beyond that, we are looking at this president-elect that if there is any wrongdoing in any ministry, and the leader of that ministry, who is a minister, should be, to some extent, shown the way out, not showing the way out alone. If there is any wrongdoing and it is established, let there be commensurate punishment. With this, people will really sit tight, and there will be a kind of deterrence. Beyond that, the person that raised the issue of Northeast, yes, there will be focus on all those areas that need attention. Not only Northeast, but Northeast truly deserve speedy attention because of the devastation that has taken place in that region. Yes, there will be focus on this area and some other areas that need attention.
Interesting. So, Malam, the Ibrahim from Gombe, he said, what are the areas, like 1, 2, 3, where the next president, the challenges where he needs to focus on, maybe possibly make the most impact?
He has his work cut out for him to me, because when you look there, more especially in areas of security, we still not out of the wood. Both north and south, east and west, we have pockets, or not even pockets, areas where people were forced to leave their homes because of insecurity. Then the economy. You see, every day we are seeing we are going backward instead of going forward, and we have challenges, and sometimes it's even beyond us. So the earlier, but I believe that if with good policy, with good attention, I think Nigeria can be out of the wood. If you remember, even with the case of COVID-19, we managed it. So I think, and we are resilient people, and we have that. We always like challenges, and we get over the challenges. So I think if you can concentrate on these two, that's the economy and security, I think for the immediate, I think people will have relief, and the others can come later.
Thank you. We have another caller from Yola, Adamawa State, Saratu from Jimeta. Go ahead. Saratu, you are welcome to Nigeria Decides 2023 on Trust TV. Go ahead and make a contribution or ask your question.
Okay, sir. I'm listening. What I want to beg you and inform you about the election. Can you hear me, sir?
Well, we can hear you now.
Okay. About the election in Adamawa State. The election is free and fair.
Okay.
But when you check the ballot papers, they have wrote many things that is not understandable. And cancellations in papers are many. When you check the PDP and APC, you will see how they cancel and write overboard. The ballot paper is over, and somewhere the vote is over than the ballot paper. So please, we are asking and we are begging, let them give us what we vote. Because they have not done well to us. And we are not happy about the result they are giving the LP, please.
Let me ask you so that our viewers can be clear what you are saying. Are you saying that even though the election was free and fair, the collation and announcement of results were not in Adamawa State?
Yes, they have not submitted, but they are trying to submit it.
Okay. Go ahead.
Okay, sir. That's why we are asking.
Okay.
The election is free, but it's not fair, sir.
Okay, too. Thank you very much. That introduces an interesting dimension. That's a Nigerian who possibly or presumably voted in the election, saying that even though the elections went on free and fairly, the results that were announced or declared by INEC may not be what the votes truly reflected, or may not reflect the will of the people of Adamawa State where she was. Yes, Malim.
Well, I can only hazard a guess because I don't know really what really happened in Adamawa. But the simple answer to this is there's a due process to follow. Whoever feels aggrieved and has evidence to show, I think the tribunals will be there, and he will have a day at the tribunal, and it is between him and the opponent. I think, to me, there was a sort of transparency even in terms of the counting, because the votes were counted at the polling units. So if your agent does not or did not agree with what he wouldn't sign, he wouldn't have signed. But the moment he signs, then you carry it over, and that becomes legitimate.
Thank you. You have an answer for Saratu?
Yeah, let me say there can never be a perfect election anywhere in the world. The election that produced former President Trump, for instance, were alleged that was a bit fraudulent in some areas. So we can never have a perfect election. Bearing this in mind, yes, there may be one or two issues somewhere, but I want to believe that this is the will of the people. And the process is so transparent in such a way that you hardly tamper with the process this time around. The introduction of that beavers, because I was a coalition officer somewhere, it is practically impossible now to rig. And if they suspect any foul play, the moment the beavers cannot accredit you, you cannot vote.
Interesting.
So I don't know the area where they are talking about, because these guys will come with the results from the field, and the coalition officer cannot do otherwise than what has been gathered and presented to the coalition officer. So, of course, there will be, let me say, voter victimization and the rest, but that is not to say you want to undermine the process. And if you agree, like Malam have said, there is a procedure to follow to really get redress.
Interesting. So we have another caller from Katsina. Saliu from Katsina. You're welcome to Nigeria Decides on Trust 2023 on Trust TV. Please go ahead and give us your question or your contribution. You're much welcome. Saliu, are you still with us?
Okay. What I wanted to say is, like this current government that we have, the president has a very good intention for the country. But the cabinet that he had is his problem. There is no discommunication between the activities of the government and the people he's overseeing. So his hate at the end. Buhari did his best, most especially in terms of capital projects. He did his best, but that communication gap was not there.
Okay.
Then earlier, a caller raised an issue of this firing and hiring or firing power. Actually, the president is not making use of it.
Okay.
And most are doing what is not even expected of them. So now giving the government that bad image.
So
going forward,
okay.
What I expected the current president-elect, Bola,
yes,
is for him to get a formidable team that would take up his duties and his vision for the country. Most especially when it comes to the hate that will communicate to the people who are seeing. And maybe at quarterly basis, he should be communicating with the people he's overruling on this he has taken, and the advices are also the people of Nigeria. I think once those things are done, then it's good to go. And I pray that God will see him through on this God has given him.
Thank you for joining us. Yeah, thank you very much, Saliu from Katsina. Thank you for joining us. So he would like to see that the incoming president avoids what he believes the pitfalls of the current outgoing president, which is one, poor communication between the government and the governed and the people, but also what a caller raised earlier, that not making use of the hiring and firing mechanism in government. Yeah. So yes,
I think the government is true. The current government is guilty on both charges, if I can say, because on many occasions you have had situations which warranted president's intervention, immediate intervention, but you will not find it. People will be guessing what will be, and until the situation had gone out of hand. And again, you find a situation whereby it even required the president to visit. You have had situations whereby people were attacked, they had to live there. What they needed probably was president being around there showing empathy. He may not give them anything, but feeling that, look, yeah, my president is with me, we may give them that psychological
sense of
strength to weather the storm. And as he's also guilty of allowing some of his lieutenants to go away. You remember the case of service chiefs? They outlived their tenure. It took him long, and eventually, like he was forced to not even sack them, to give them another appointment. So I hope the president-elect will avoid those kind of things.
Thank you. So, but you in your previous comments, you said that if you know Asiwaju Ahmed very well, I don't know in what capacity you know him, and I don't assume you do, but do you think he is the sort of person, the sort of leader who will communicate well with Nigerians, based on what Ibrahim said, but also who, when it is necessary, like you said yourself, will say, okay, Mr. A, go and rest. You are not performing as I expect.
Yes, depending on the type of cabinet is going to select now, the fact that you succeeded in Lagos does not mean you are going to succeed in the center.
Yes.
There are different ball games.
Absolutely.
Yes, in Lagos, truly, he had a very good spread. In fact, majority of the tribes are represented as commissioner in Lagos. Bearing in mind that it's a Yoruba core state. But people from other regions of the country were part of that government. And they really performed. He has what I can describe as best 11. But replicating that at the center now, we are praying that, yes, God will give him the wisdom and the understanding. Because at the center, every core of this nation has to be represented. You have to get, of course, if truly the election is a reflection of his popularity, then getting people across the country should not be a difficult task. He has network, he has people, he has some people he has trusted, and he has some people he has tested. So the ability to bring them on to deliver is key. So the type of cabinet he will appoint will really determine whether he's going to perform steadily. Because in Lagos, he did it, and the evidence is there for everybody to see. So we are just praying that he will have the strength and the power to really make this bold step.
I will come back to the issue of strength, because part of the accusations against the Asiwaju is maybe age and health.
Yes.
I will come back to that. But Malam, among the things he said, he singled out the young people in his speech yesterday. He singled out young Nigerians and said that he can hear their pain, he can feel their pain that Nigeria has been a country that has not given enough opportunities to young people and so on. And he is going to answer their call, and he and his vice president will bring policies in. To what extent do you think that really matters at this point?
It matters a lot, because the future of Nigeria is in the youth. And we have large population, segment of population which is below, under 30 and below. And they are ready, I believe so. But I think the most important thing there should be a reorientation. That's the most important thing. Because over time, we have a situation whereby we don't reward hard work, we don't reward merit. Because those at the top had shown us that, look, all you need to do is get into the government, steal and go. And over time, you find that our youth think that's the best way out. So you find people, the youth going into Yahoo, and all those kind of things. So there is need for massive reorientation, engagement of the youth, getting them engaged so that they will not be idle and just, they say the idle man is the devil's workshop. Yes. So I think he has enormous responsibility. I hope he keeps that word, because it's very, very important. Otherwise, I think we have problem on the future of Nigeria.
Thank you very much. We have just about 1 minute to the end of the show, but I think that's enough time for you to answer. Do you think, given all these things that we think that the president-elect needs to do to get Nigeria back on track, do you think he has the physical, mental energy and health to do it?
Yes, I think if, by the special grace of God, President Buhari can do it, I believe he can also do it.
Okay.
The best thing for you to do is to get a good team. And if you get a good team, majority of this work will be delegated, and you oversee them. Let me take you on the youth area. He specifically said the youth will be given chance and their education will be taken care of. He mentioned loan for students, that their 4 years course will be 4 years, no more strike and the rest. Just to tell you that he has them in mind, truly. For him now I think he has that mental ability, and he has the strength, so to say, to push this country forward, provided he has what to do in mind.
Thank you very much, Dr. Olagunji, for coming on the show. Thank you also our in-house analyst.
Thank you for having us.
Malam Yusuf Zango. Thank you also our viewers for staying with us through the course of today's program, Nigeria Decides, on Trust TV. And we hope that you will join us again tomorrow when we meet. But just before we meet, you take this. Just like every sunset is an opportunity to reset, and every sunrise a new beginning, this new political dispensation is another opportunity for Nigerians to join hands with the new leadership come May 29th to work towards a new Nigeria. But those who have grievances should address them in appropriate quarters. This is from us tonight. We hope that you join us tomorrow, same station, same time. I am Suleiman Suleiman. Good night.